Hello, I'm Christina Skinner, a registered dietitian with Nourish for the Love of Food. And today I'm going to demonstrate three different ways to use cottage cheese. So this is more of a savory option for you, whether it's a quick meal, a quick snack, or whatever it needs to be for you throughout the day. So we're going to start with option number one. I have a cucumber here. I'm going to dice this up. So I prefer an English cucumber because it has less seeds and it seems less watery, and you can just peel it and it's ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to try to share like my screen down so you can see. So I'm going to slice up this cucumber. So whatever thickness you want. So this is again going to be kind of more of a snacking option. So we're going to just get some of our cucumbers sliced up, ready to go. And then I have my bowl here. I'm using a 2% cottage cheese. You can use whatever you want. I do recommend doing an organic cottage cheese if you can find it in your local grocery store. It's going to be a little bit more expensive, but you're definitely going to have a higher quality cottage cheese. And then for this example, I'm going to use a ranch pack and I'm going to season this right in here. It's going to make kind of like a higher protein ranch dip, if you will. So instead of typically you mix this in with like a sour cream, so instead you're going to just put it right into the cottage cheese. Realizing I didn't grab a spoon, let me do that, and then we'll mix it together. Okay, so we're just gonna mix that in. And honestly, you can just put in as much seasoning as you like in there and just taste it and get it to the right, I guess, taste that you prefer. And you also, with those ranch packets, there's different brands. So you can do like I think Kirk maybe is the brand. And because this one specifically does have some ingredients that maybe people don't love. But again, it's kind of just a quick higher protein option. So literally, you're just going to dip your cucumber in your cottage cheese, and that's going to be a nice little high protein dip for a little veggie snack. So we have that as number one, cottage cheese. So the next option is going to be doing, again, kind of a savory one. So I have a small container of cherry tomatoes here. So I'm going to pull you back down so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to half these cherry tomatoes. You could honestly quarter them. You could do whatever you want. You could use a regular big tomato if you want to do that too. But I personally feel like cherry tomatoes have a nice flavor, especially it's not summer months here, but in the summer, they're really yummy. So I'm going to pop some cottage cheese into this bowl. I'm going to go ahead and just throw these right in here. And then the special ingredient for this one is the everything but the bagel seasoning. So you can just sprinkle that on there and it gives it just a nice extra little zip. So you honestly, if you had leftover cucumbers, you could throw those in here. You could do red onion. You could honestly, whatever vegetables you have on hand, but it just makes kind of a nice little veg salad with that cottage cheese. Oh, I left alone tomato. Okay. And then number three is more of a sweet cottage cheese option. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to put my cottage cheese into my bowl. So I actually call this a yogurt bowl, but cottage cheese is in there just to give you that little extra bit of protein. So I'm using the Oikos brand. It's a little bit higher in protein, a good sugar amount, not as much sugar as some yogurts out there on the market. There's another good brand called Too Good. That also could be an option, but I also would just plop this on top of my cottage cheese. I'm going to spin you guys down so you can see what I'm doing. And again, ratios can be whatever your preference. So if you feel like you want more of the yogurt versus cottage cheese, you can do that. And then I'm just going to take some granola. So I have, this is a Kind brand, a higher protein option. I like the Kind brands because they are lower in sugar. So when you are purchasing the granola, just make sure you're watching for how much added sugar is in there. But then just go ahead and sprinkle that. And then you're going to take a spoon. I'm going to grab another spoon. And you're just going to mix it all together. So before you know it, you don't even notice that the cottage cheese is really in there. It blends really well with the yogurt. And then you have a nice higher protein yogurt bowl. You could also throw berries on this or whatever kind of fruit you might have on hand, which would make for a really quick breakfast or snack option. So I hope some of these ideas give you guys a quick way to get in some vegetables, to get in some high protein, some dairy, and just could get you through the day.